remember, you can unmute. You cannot unmute right now. Just going live. Give me 1 second that I got this going. We're going to start. Okay, so we're live. Hi, everyone. Here, Tony Walker, the mine engineer. Today, I want to talk about a very, very controversial topic, very difficult one. It hits on people's pain points, but I think it's very important to talk about this. So please, I invite you to come with an open mind, open heart, no judgment, no criticism on my side. It's just to help you guys, okay? So that said, it's very important to have an open mind, open heart, because it is very easy to look on the outside and, start looking into other people's problems, talk about, this guy is narcissist, this guy has narcissistic behavior and those type of things, but it's difficult to look back at one. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about narcissism, but we're going to give it a twist, because this is what I actually believe is what we have the power over and learning from this. And that's what I want to bring to you guys today with this talk. So let's talk about narcissism, okay? Let me now change the camera so you guys can see me. Here we go. Okay. Hello, everyone. So if you're watching live on Facebook, type #live, please, guys. If you can do that, that would be awesome. More people get to see this. More people get to, be interested in this topic that is very, very important that we're going to cover today. If you're watching a replay, just #replay. That would be awesome too. So hi, everyone, the people that are on Zoom. Let's get this show on the road. Let's talk about narcissism. Okay. So to talk about narcissism, the first thing that I want to do is I want to share my screen with you guys. Look at some different things I found quick search over the internet about narcissism. Okay, so let me share the screen 1 second, just very fast. Let's look at these things. So we're just putting it in. So overview: narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition in which people have an unreasonable high sense of their own importance. They need and to, I want to copy paste. This disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. Who hasn't met somebody like that before? Type a yes in the chat if you have met people like that before. Yes, that need attention, that they don't understand the feeling of others, that they, want people to admire them. Okay, so that said, let's go, to a little bit more in depth about this. So I found another site, just fast, 12 signs, and we're going to do 20 signs, 12 signs of narcissism. So look at this: superiority and entitlement. People feel that they're superior than others, and they kind of entitle themselves with things, okay? Exaggerated need for attention and validation. Exaggerated need for attention and validation. Lack of responsibility, blaming and deflecting. And we're going to go into these, several of these. Lack of boundaries, lack of empathy, emotional reasoning. Yes, you probably made the mistake of trying to reason and use logic with the narcissist to get him to understand how painful it is what they're doing and those type of things. Splitting. Yes, they separate into good or bad. The good things is their doing and the bad things is somebody else's doing. Splitting. They live with fear. They live with anxiety. They might live with shame. Inability to truly be vulnerable, right? Inability to communicate or work with others in a team, okay? So those are 12. Let's see 20 more. They lack empathy and remorse. They're condescending towards others. They have a high fruitful self-esteem. They have a high but fragile self-esteem. They bully, demean, and intimidate others. They seek constant attention and admiration. They can't handle the mindset of criticism. They have an inflated sense of self-importance. They do not respect others' boundaries. They are highly selfish and self-centered. They have superficial, self-serving relationships. They can't stand others making decisions for them. They do not assume responsibility for their mistakes. They're envious and believe others are envious of them. They take advantage of others without feeling shame and guilt. They feel they're better, smarter, and more competent than others. They are people who use their relationship to feel good about themselves. Look at this one. We're going to go to this one afterwards. They overestimate their intellectual superiority and physical attractiveness. They are arrogant and hostile and find it almost impossible to utter the word sorry. They live in fantasy world created by reality distortion, self-deception, and magical thinking. They have a strong sense of entitlement. That is, they expect to always get favorable treatment, and their demands get automatic compliance. Okay, so that said, guys, it's important to understand that, of course, what I like saying is it's not that we have a person that is narcissistic, because we are talking, when we talk about a being, I don't believe that there are narcissistic beings. What I believe is that there are people that have unresolved issues, people that have low self-esteem, people that are very fragile, it says over here, and that in a way, they need to develop coping mechanisms to feel good about themselves, to feel good enough, to feel, to feel valuable, to feel recognized. Yes. So look at this. I see here, I feel like this was me in the past. So Romana, thank you for sharing that. And this is, guys, where I want you to see, because it's very easy to spot it on somebody else. But what we want to do is what I always teach is pointing back at us, guys. So let's go back a little bit to, right, the 12 things that I read at the beginning, right? Superiority and entitlement. Whenever we feel superior than others, and guys, we don't need to verbalize this. It could be inside of us that I feel like, why everybody's getting this and I'm not, if I'm better than them, if I should, be getting this. Whenever I put myself superior from another person, I'm falling into some type of trait that could be connected to a narcissistic trait. So what I want you to take from this conversation today, guys, is where you are treating yourself, because I'm pretty sure that most of the people that are here are not narcissistic to others, but are narcissistic to yourselves, guys. You're behaving in a narcissistic way to yourself. So what I want you to point out towards yourself, guys, not to Tommy, you don't have, to be accountable to me anything, but to yourselves. Do you sometimes put yourself superior, saying like, oh, I should be doing better in life than this person or this person because I'm working harder. I'm doing better. I should be doing better than this person. I should be making more money because I'm putting more of the work, because I'm a better person. I'm this, I'm that. That is entitlement and superiority, guys. And I'm not going to start getting you guys to raise your hands, but I want you to take responsibility inside of you guys. Because again, what I believe happens is when we have these things inside of us, and this doesn't describe who I am, it just describes the unresolved issues that I have. Listen to that again. If I have narcissistic traits, it doesn't mean that you're a narcissistic person. And this is what a little bit ago, one of my clients reached out and said, Tommy, I just was reading about narcissistic people, right, behaviors, and I find myself in several of those. So the first thing I told this person is, wait, you're not a narcissist. You can have narcissistic behaviors or traits because that's what you were, exposed to as a little kid. When people were hard on you, they didn't care about your emotions. When your parents would say, don't cry, don't be whiner, don't be, angry. People that were not taking care of your emotions, they were behaving in a narcissistic way. So now most people, guys, seriously, most people out there are narcissistic, are acting narcissistic towards themselves. And I want you to start figuring these things out. Let me know with a 1 in the chat if that makes sense, guys. So exaggerate needs for attention and validation. Whenever and who hasn't done things in the past for others to try to get that, hey, Tommy, you're amazing. Hey, Tommy, you're great. Oh, buddy, you're very good at what you do. What a great gesture you had. How many times you have found yourself, guys, and this, you got to put your hand on your heart and be honest to yourself, not to me. I don't care what is the answer. This is for you guys. Have you ever done things to get validation and attention from others. Maybe cooking meals, dressing nicely, buying flowers, something that you were doing to try to get attention. Here we add the word exaggeration, okay? But any type of trying to get attention could eventually start developing these traits more and more till we fall into maybe a more evident characteristic as a narcissist behavior, because we're exaggerating, wanting to find validation or attention. And a lot of people are, very close to that line between, having that narcissistic trait or just, wanting to get attention from others. Lack of responsibility, blaming and deflecting. How many times, maybe this year or that just started or last year, you blame the economy, you blame the government, you blame somebody else for something that happened to you. Who hasn't been there before, guys? It happens to everyone. So when we have a lack of responsibility, when we blame others, oh, you made me feel bad, you made me feel this, you made me feel that, you are blaming. You are falling into this category. So the idea is to figure out where you're falling into these categories and what you can do to start changing this. So again, instead of blaming your partner that might be acting as a narcissist, having narcissist behaviors towards you, is where are you having those behaviors? Because you cannot control your partner, guys. And if you walk away from your partner, friends, family, whatever, you're not dealing with the problem, because you're still behaving as a narcissist towards yourself. And this is what I want you to see, guys, not how others are treating you, how you are treating yourselves, guys. Lack of boundaries. How many times has it happened this year or last year, 2022, where you weren't able to set the correct boundary, a lack of boundaries? Who hasn't been there before? Type a 2 in the chat if you have found yourself not being able to put those boundaries in place and letting others step over you. That is also a problem, because you're not taking care of yourself. So we can blame narcissists that they walk all over your boundaries, but what are you doing to yourself? How are you allowing it? Okay? Because although, I'm trying to look for the right word. If they're holding a gun into your head, up to your head, I understand it. But if it's not like that, I'm not saying it's easy, guys. Don't get me wrong. I was in very nasty narcissistic relationships, and it was very difficult for me to walk away. But now I take ownership. I've learned from it, and I realize that I stayed in there. So I'm not blaming anybody there. Like, oh, you should, I'm helping you find out what I found out with this work. So I was being a narcissist to myself, and that's how I allowed others to treat me like that. And I hope that makes sense, guys. So, lack of empathy. How many times have you felt sad, angry, shame, guilt, whatever, and you had a lack of empathy towards yourself, guys? Have you ever struggled with lack of empathy towards yourself? Come on, guys, let's raise our hands. I don't need to do it, right? But I know it happens. Whenever you're beating yourself up, whenever you're being hard on yourself, that is a lack of empathy. So it's not that it happened in the past. It might be happening even today. So if you are blaming somebody else for their lack of empathy, I would start asking myself, where am I lacking empathy to myself, guys? Emotional reasoning, we're going to split it over. We're going to talk about splitting. We're going to skip over splitting. We're going to see this. Splitting. When things go good, it's like, it's my responsibility. When things go bad, I blame others, whether it's work, whether it's my kids, whether it's my job, whether it is relationship, whatever, friendships. When things go well, I take ownership. When things don't go well, I tend to blame others, right? So we got to check into that. Am I doing it? Am I having fear? Again, am I living in fear? Most people are living in fear. That doesn't mean, guys, just in case that you're a narcissist. Again, it could mean that I have narcissistic traits towards myself. I might be not doing it to others because it was very painful when it was done to me, so I don't do it to others. But you, for sure, are doing it to yourself. So if you're attracting people that are being narcissists to you, you got to check where you are allowing that to happen. Where are you treating yourself that way? Because the universe is going to bring you people and circumstances that are going to help you spot out what is happening in your mind that you're doing to yourself that you're not even aware of. So type universe in the chat if that makes sense. Universe in the chat if that makes sense, that the universe is bringing your way people and circumstances that are going to help you see how you are treating yourself. So whenever you encounter narcissists, and I have been in several negative, really bad relationships, it didn't have to do with the other person. It had to do with me. The other person was just another actor in the situation. I hope that makes sense, guys. Again, if you can write universe in the chat, if that makes sense, that will be great. Okay, who hasn't had some anxiety before? Anxiety is something that happens, right? And it can come and go, but we need to understand why we're feeling anxiety. What is going on? It could be we're not feeling worthy, we're not feeling good enough. How are we making ourselves feel? Whenever I'm beating myself up, whenever I'm being hard on myself, I am creating that anxiety. And then I'm going to attract people and circumstances that are going to bring that to my attention so that I can start working on these things and seeing them. Okay, how many times do I make myself feel shame because I did something wrong? I screwed up. I got stuck. I wasn't able to do the video that I was expecting. I wasn't able to make the money that I expected, or whatever it is. How I am making myself feel shame. An ability to truly be vulnerable. Are you being able to truly open up? Sometimes I open up, but sometimes I don't. So where are you holding yourself from opening up? Why are you holding yourself from opening up? And I'm not saying this is easy, guys. An inability to communicate or work as a part of a team. If I cannot be with others, I think that I'm better. I think that I'm worse. I cannot work as a team player. If I cannot work as a team player, it has to do with low confidence, low self-esteem. Many people that have narcissistic traits has to do with their lack of self-confidence, with their low self-esteem. So they create, and listen to this, guys, they create coping mechanisms. They create protective mechanisms to be able to, in a way, live in this world with their low confidence, low self-esteem. So now we see them as the enemy. We see them as the bad guys. You know, they have to be treated. Look, I have another over here. Look at this, narcissistic personality disorder, a disorder in which a person has inflated sense of self-importance. Narcissistic personality disorder is found more common in men, and this is true and not true. Women has it more kind of silent. It is in there. Then okay, and I'm not trying to make a big difference or anything. I'm telling you the truth, guys, because as I was saying, if you have any of these treatment going your way, you might have narcissistic traits to yourself. Maybe not to others, but you're still acting in a narcissistic way towards yourself, right? So they talk about treatment about these people, but the thing is, I got to work on these things, not just send my partner to the psychologist, therapist, or coach. And look at this again. Let's go back to the list of 20. The lack of empathy, right? Lack of empathy. How many times do I have a lack of empathy towards myself? How many times am I condescending towards myself? Do I feel fragile? Do I have a low self-esteem? Do I doubt myself, right? Do I bully myself? Guys, look at this. Bully, demean, intimidate myself. You got to do this. Get on there and do that. Again, I'm going to give you an example. It's going to be a harsh example. I believe that Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, and many out there are behaving in this way. They're intimidating to take actions. Look at what I'm saying, guys. They intimidate you to take actions. They, in a way, manipulate you to feel less if you don't take action. The Dickinson method, where you tell yourself that if you don't do the things that you need to do, you're going to end up dead. You're going to end up the worst case scenario in your life. That is bullying, demeaning, and being intimidating to yourself. So they use these narcissistic traits to try to push you forward. Not all the time, but in many cases they do. Again, lack of empathy. Since we have been working together, guys, and listening to my stuff, most people have a lack of empathy. If I'm feeling sad, I shouldn't feel sad. I should feel grateful. No, that is a lack of empathy. Instead, what I teach is connect with what you're feeling, understand what you're feeling, support, love yourself through those feelings. That is empathy, not just being empathetic when things are going well, being empathetic to somebody else, but not to yourself. Watch out with that, guys, because we are developing these traits over and over again, and then we blame others, but it's us who are bringing those things into our life. Whenever you bring narcissistic people into your life, or now people that behave like narcissists, let's talk about, not talk about the being, but more the actions. When you bring narcissistic behaviors into your life from other people, it's because you need to see where you are acting in a similar way. It might be much less, but you're still doing it to yourself. So you need to attract those people to stop doing what you're doing, okay? They seek constant attention and admiration. Again, wanting to feel loved, wanting to find a partner. It could be a way of seeking for attention, seeking for admiration, cooking a nice meal, bringing flowers, whatever it is, being a good lover, being a good, in bed, whatever it is. It could be a way of looking for attention to cover up my low confidence, my low self-esteem. And I'm not saying it's always like that, guys, don't get me wrong, but it's up to you to start questioning where I'm coming from when I'm doing those things. They cannot handle criticism. Who can? Come on, guys. Most people out there have a hard time handling criticism. But then we like calling others narcissists because they cannot handle criticism. How am I doing at home first? How am I doing at home? This is what we need to understand, guys. They have an inflated sense of self-importance. That might not happen to you guys, of course. They do not respect other people's boundaries. They don't respect their own boundaries. Let's point back the finger at myself. Do I respect my boundaries? If somebody is disrespecting my boundaries, do I walk away or do I stick around? Do I put my foot down? What do I do? If I have a hard time putting my foot down and, respecting my own boundaries, how can I expect others to respect my boundaries? Oh, but they need to change. No, I need to change because I have the power to change. I cannot expect others to change. I need to change first, guys. They are highly selfish and self-centered, okay? When we do things for others to feel loved, to feel accepted, to feel whatever, there is selfishness in our actions. Most people out there, guys, I'm going to say something that's going to be hard. Most people out there are doing stuff for others to get that recognition, that acceptance, to feel good about themselves. Yes? So they have superficial self-serving relationships. In a way is, again, self-serving. If I want you guys to love me and I do stuff for you to love me, isn't that self-serving? Yes, it is, guys. And I'm not saying that all the things you do are self-serving, but you need to check what you're doing, guys, because many times in relationship, we fall into self-serving. We're not giving to others out of unconditional love, no matter what the other person does. We do something and expecting something in return, a hug, a kiss, intimacy, I love you words, whatever it is. If that is the case, we're falling into self-serving. Yes, they cannot stand other making decisions for them. Does it bother you when people tell you what to do, guys? Type a 3 in the chat if it bothers you when people tell you what to do. If it bothers you, you're falling into this category, guys. If it bothers you when people tell you what to do, it's because, again, low confidence, low self-esteem. You don't like others making decisions for you, but because you believe that others have the power over you. Listen to that again, because you believe that others have the power over you. You can tell me, Tommy, you should be talking about narcissism in a different way. Tommy, you should be talking about this in a different way. You should be saying this. You should be doing that. You should be saying this. And you know what, guys? Thank you very much. But I'm going to do it the way I think it's best. And if you think it's not right, I'm okay with it. But I'm going to keep doing whatever I need to do. You see what I just changed it around? Instead of, what did I do wrong? Why should I do it different? And we start feeling like a victim. Listen to my tone. Imagine one of you guys say, Tommy, you shouldn't be talking about narcissism like this. I'd be like, why? Why shouldn't? What did I do wrong? What's wrong with this? Who hasn't fallen to this in the past, guys? Yes, but I conditioned to have family telling me what to do. I think there is a fine line between being told what to do and asking or saying, okay. But again, if people are telling you what to do and it bothers you, because there's a story you need to work, because my mom is always telling me what to do. And you know what? I do whatever I want and I'm fine with it. I don't need to fight back towards her anymore. I just do whatever I feel is best for me. They do not assume responsibility for their mistakes. They tend to blame others. You made me feel angry. You made me feel hurt. What you said really hurt. I'm not taking responsibility, guys. They are envious and believe others are envious of them. They may be not envious of others, but you might not believe that others are envious of you, but I've seen a lot of people with a low self-esteem, low confidence, that they're envious of others. Oh, I should be earning more money than this person. Look what they're doing. They're not doing the right thing. So I should be getting out there and, helping more people, or whatever it is that you're telling yourself, guys. They take advantage of others without feeling shame or guilt. See it the other way around. How are you letting others to take advantage of you? Why are you letting others to take advantage of you? So yet, let's use this on the opposite. They feel they're better, smarter, and more competent than others. That most of the times, for people, the people that I'm working with, they don't feel like that. It has to be an extreme, but just to be, again, better, it could be, I should be making more money. As I said before, I should be making more money than this person at work because I'm better than them. Or I should be making more money in my business because I'm better than blah, whatever. That is in a way this, okay? But taking to extreme, smarter, beautiful, whatever than others. There are people who use their relationships to feel good about themselves. Guys, this is 99% of humanity. Yes, guys, we all use our relationship to feel good about, to get a kiss, to get a hug, to feel supported, to feel loved, intimacy, whatever it is that we're using to feel good about ourselves. Most people are doing this, guys. So it's okay. What am I looking for on the outside that I need to learn how to be able to give it to myself? Love, support, attention, listening to myself. What is it? They overestimate their intellectual superiority and physical attractiveness. That is not something that, normally I see with people that I work with. They're arrogant and hostile and find it almost impossible to say they're sorry. Yes. I have had some people that I've been working with that they have very few along all these 14 years that they find it very difficult to say, oh, sorry. When they're open to this inner work, normally they're not so at the, end of the spectrum of our narcissist behavior, okay? They live in fantasy world. A lot of people live in fantasy world. I work with people that they imagine themselves, walking down the street and attracting men or women. I work with people that they imagine themselves rescuing people to feel good about themselves. They live in fantasy land. Why? Because they want to feel good enough. They want to feel accepted. They want to feel valued. They have a strong sense of entitlement. That is, they expect to always get favorable treatment. Who hasn't been there before, where you see somebody, I don't know, giving something to others and maybe you get a little bit less, but you got something and you don't feel enough because you didn't get as the rest. You didn't get the recognition, you didn't get the applause, you didn't get something from the rest. So again, guys, what I want to show you here is that it's very easy to get lost into blaming somebody else because of their narcissistic behaviors, but I'm not looking what's happening at home. At home, inside of my mind, I mean, not even at home with my partner or with my kids or whatever. I'm looking at me in my mind. So I wanted to give this big twist to narcissism because I have gone into groups and talked about this and people are throwing stones, quote unquote, at me, saying that I'm a covert narcissist. That's why I'm saying these things. What? If you're treating yourself like crap, I'm the narcissist because I'm showing you that you're treating yourself like crap and I'm the narcissist? Come on, if I'm just saying that you're treating yourself like this and then you want to blame me as a narcissist, come on. You see how incoherent this is, guys? In a very loving way, I'm telling people that whenever you're hurting yourself, it has to do with you and nobody else. even though there's a person in the room that is saying nasty things to you. It's up to you what to do with that. If you're not walking away, if you're putting up with it, if you are using that to beat yourself up, you are acting as a narcissist to yourself. But people don't want to become responsible. They want to blame others. And this is a big problem that I see. So if you look at these things over here, the lack of empathy, I want to go back to this. The lack of empathy, number one, lack of empathy. This is one of the main things I see out there, even from big gurus, that they talk about empathy. They talk about self-love. They talk about unconditional love. They talk about love. But then when it has to do with facing your negativity, facing your depression, facing whatever, and you can go out there and look for how Tony Robbins turned around a suicidal kid in 5 minutes. Something like that. You can put that on YouTube and you can see a video on how Tony turns around a kid that had been having suicidal thoughts. And look, you know what? I'm going to look it up on YouTube. I'm going to show you it's like 3 minutes, right? How Tony helped a suicidal person. When I saw this, 5 minutes, guys. Okay. Let me share. I already saw it. That's why. Let me share the sound here. 1 second. I got to come here and share the sound. Share computer sound. There we go. Oh, look at this.
Suicidal.
Why are you suicidal?
I can feel very peak states in life, but I can go so deep that I don't see a way out.
Yes.
And I'm looking for a way to get out of my body, or to hit myself, or to... I can explain that deep, and I don't find a way out.
What makes you hate yourself? Is it the red shoes?
What?
Is it the red shoes?
No.
You see what he just did, guys? He asked the guy why he hated himself, and then he make a joke. That is deflection. That is not empathy. This is not being empath. This guy is suffering. He wants to take his life. He wants to hurt himself. Instead of really understanding it, he's making jokes. It's a way that people do to take people out of the state they're in. But is it the correct way? No, it's BS. Let's keep watching.
Are you sure? Because they're fucking red. Don't you be smiling like that. You'll fuck everything up.
Don't be smiling like that. You're going to fuck everything up. Did he really find out what this guy is going through? Why is he telling himself whatever he's telling himself? What is the story in his mind? No. He's changing the circumstances so he feels better today. But I guarantee that this guy went home a month later, 2 months later, 5 months later. Eventually, he fell back to the same state again. Keep watching.
If you smile like that too much, you'll want to stick around.
If you smile that much, you're going to want to stick around. It's like, where is the empath? This is a guy manipulating somebody to feel better. Do you really see what I'm seeing, guys? Or am I way off? Please tell me. If I'm wrong, type it wrong in the chat, and I'm okay with debating that, of course. But do you really think I'm wrong with what I'm saying? Is this empathy? Is this listening to this guy? Is this supporting this guy that is feeling that his life is falling into pieces?
You've been so hard on yourself. I love that you have such high standards. But those aren't high standards. That's called perfection. And most people overestimate what they can do in a year, and they underestimate what they can do in 2 or 3 decades. And you haven't been around long enough to have those extra 2 or 3 decades. So don't fuck it up.
So you see that he's trying to change the story in the guy's mind without really understanding what is his story? Does that make sense, guys? He's trying to change the story in the mind of this guy without understanding the story. Tony has a big presence, like a big, masculine energy. So when he's doing that, he's trying to reprogram his mind, but he's doing it externally. So this guy is going to need Tony from the rest of his life. Look at this, what I'm saying, guys. He's creating a follower, not a leader, because this guy is not being able to learn how to change his mind. He's doing it through Tony. You see the difference? You got to be very careful with this, guys.
There's time. And if you give yourself just a little bit of time, and if you'll be a little more loving to yourself, I think you're going to find you got a lot to give. I can fucking feel it. And I know fucking people. And you know I do. That's right.
Thank you.
And
So in a way, he is creating that this guy believes in himself because of what Tony is saying. The idea is to teach people how to fish, not to give them fish. Because if you give them fish, they're going to need you for their entire life. If you teach them how to fish, now they don't need you. In this circumstance, I'm not saying everything is like that all the time with Tony, but in this specific video, the truth is he's creating dependency. He's forcing this kid to change his mind without understanding why he's feeling like that. What is his past that brought him to believe what he's believing about himself?
I know you right now. Can you feel me?
Yes, I do.
So you and I are going to make a deal. I'm going to show you what to do to reshape yourself.
That would be nice.
And we're going to make it so you can enjoy yourself.
Oh, are you sure?
So again, different things that we need to really understand, guys, if we want to make a real change in our mind. It's not about forcing ourselves. I see that there's questions coming in. I'll deal with them in a little bit, guys. Okay. So the important thing with this twist that I gave here, guys, about narcissism is how are we treating ourselves, guys? How do we treat ourselves? Because it's very easy to see how others are treating us, but is it a reflection of how we're treating ourselves? Again, does it mean that if somebody treats me in a narcissistic way, I'm treating myself narcissistic? Not exactly, because if it doesn't affect me how that person is treating me, it doesn't trigger me, it means that I'm not treating myself narcissistic. So it doesn't mean that you're going to walk into this earth and nobody's going to treat you narcissistic. No, they're going to people that are going to try to disrespect you, that are going to try to take, advantage of you, that are going to treat you in a not loving way. But if it doesn't affect you, it's because you have dealt with your unresolved issues. If it affects you, it has nothing to do with the other person. It has to do how you are treating yourself. That is taking 100% responsibility, guys. I hope that makes sense. Let me know, guys, if this is making sense. Type yes in the chat if this is making sense. I know it's a difficult topic. I know many of you guys have been kind of shocked because of those things that you read, understanding that if I have attracted this into my life, it has to do with me. But that's when I empower myself to change, guys. If I believe that what happens to me, it's something external, has nothing to do with me, I have no power over it. But if I learn that whatever is happening to me is the byproduct of how I'm treating myself, and the universe is bringing people and circumstances to show me how I'm treating myself, it makes it much easier to make changes. So if you are seeing narcissism traits in your parents, partner, kids, whatever, yes, start working on setting boundaries, stopping them there. But the most important thing is, how can I work on myself? The more you work on yourself, the more you're going to be centered, more, grounded to be able to set those boundaries and keep them in place. But you got to go through this process of loving yourself, being empathic to yourself, right? Not judging and kicking yourself in the butt if you're falling into any of those traits that I mentioned before. It's not about beating yourself up because you're behaving that way. It's about understanding and learning what you have power over and what you don't have power over. I used to stand in front of people and teach, and I had a lot of people that would stand up and say, Tommy, what you're saying is BS. You have no idea what you're saying. And at the beginning, it would really shake my world. As I started doing this work, I was able to stand my ground and say, okay, hey, Peter, why do you feel that what I'm saying is wrong? Hey, Kate, why do you believe what I'm saying is wrong? Let's talk about it. Let's debate. I was much open to debate and bringing my information, my knowledge to the table, connected with the other person's knowledge, and see and check if I was wrong or if the other person was wrong. Look into books, look into the internet, find proof of what they're saying or what I'm saying, and then maybe even develop a greater understanding. Yes? Makes sense? Type 4 in the chat if this is making sense, guys. Let me know if this is making sense, please. Thank you. Perfect. So I'm going to end. I stayed up a little bit more on the live because I want to share my point here. This is my personal opinion. If you don't share this opinion, I'm okay with it, guys. I don't mind debating. Again, I'm open to debating what you just saw in the video. If you want to keep seeing it later and come back and say, but Tommy, blah, 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 whatever, we can debate. I'm okay with that. Okay. This is what I believe, according to what I have studied. I see that masculine energy trying to make people change their mind through, in a way, loving force. You have to change. You have to blah. You know, you got to start living. I believe in you. But they don't believe in themselves. So don't get me wrong. It's good that you tell them that you believe in them. I tell you guys, I believe in you guys. But is understanding their deep story, what is behind their suicidal ideas. There is something there. So if I don't understand the story, I cannot really help them change it. I can override it for a little bit. Look at this. I can override the story for a little bit. And you saw that right now as Tony did it with this kid, right? He overrode that script for a little bit, but that doesn't mean it changed. Maybe along the show, along all those days working in there, he helped him. Don't get me wrong. He said it there that he was going to help him, shape him differently, whatever. But again, what I believe is that Tony works on the outside, not so much on the inside, to get to meet who you truly are. That's what I believe in, and that's what my work is based on. Help you guys hold who you really are up for you guys and help you start seeing it. As you do that, that's when things start changing. You change your stories, you start healing, and you start reprogramming your mind to live the life closer to your dreams. And that's the idea. So thank you very much for watching. I'm glad that you like this. Thank you, Regina. I see you there on Facebook. Thank you, Denise, and everybody else that's watching. I'm going to shut down now the Facebook Live. If you want to join us on Zoom, remember, just hashtag Elite, and I'll send you the link to join the Elite membership so you can be part of the Zoom and have Q&A and some laser coaching if you want to. So thank you very much again. I'll see you around, guys. Talk to you. I hope you enjoy this. Take care. Bye.